Hello and welcome back to the Wrestle and to another edition of Raw Out of 10. This is a show after WrestleMania which WWE usually sees as a fresh start to signal what's next for the rest of the year. A lot of time is spent showing what happened at Mania, including all of the title changes that happened on the Red Band. Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan emerged as new champions. Paige made their return on the tag titles. Oba Femi defeated Brock Lesnar, and he opened the show. But before that we got a quick recap of the show. But yeah, Femi stood silently with a serious look on his face as the crowd chanted his name over and over. When he tried to speak, the crowd chanted even louder, so he waited a moment for them to speak and simply said, "The ruler has arrived," before dropping the mic and doing his signature pose. This was about as short and sweet as it gets, and it was kind of perfect. Femi's over, so he doesn't need to talk for 10 minutes about why you beat Brock. He acted like it was just another day in the office, which makes him see that much more dangerous than some rookie. He would have treated the one like some impossible feat that they managed to accomplish. Next up was our first match, and it was between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky taking on Asuka and Kairi Sane. Sky and Sane started the action with a lockup. They spent a couple of minutes having a nice exchange before Ripley and Asuka tagged in. They upped the intensity of the battle with strikes. The Pirate Princess took out Ripley with a huge elbow from the top rope to the floor to send us into a break. After a weekend of matches that felt too short, it's nice to get one where it felt like they had time to work without being rushed. The chemistry between these four is well established, so they had no trouble putting on a fun show. It felt like the seeds had been planted for Sane and Asuka's eventual breakup, which had been a long time coming. Both teams had a couple of close calls, but Sky secured her team the win with the Oval Moonsault. Overall, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I thought this was really, really strong. And yeah, obviously setting the stage for a few things. As we then moved on to a break, CM Punk made his way out with no music and no video on the Tron. Some chanted his name, some fans booed and some cheered. He looked at Paul before doing this and said it's clubbing time. His music came and walked down to the ring without much energy in his sets. Speaking about dealing with a loss over the last 6 months, he mentioned losing his own A trainer, his dog, a handful of WWE employees he knew. The crowd cheered as he gave props to the people who made the show possible. He said fans have helped him get through losses, and losing his title didn't sting as much as in the friends. He processed and thanked everyone for helping him with his grief. Punk had always been known as a good talker, but there was a genuineness behind the first half of this promo. You don't get him wrestling much. As he was getting ready to leave Cody's music here, Punk joked about going promo over his time, but Rose said he had a serious demeanour and said he expected a different reaction from him after losing his title. Punk said he didn't feel like a loser, which seemed to surprise Cody. Rose told Punk that he had a title shot waiting for him whenever he wants it. A pretty solid segment, but yeah, maybe went a bit too long here. It was then time for Ethan Page to make his Raw debut in a singles bout against Javon Evans. This was set up during a simple backstage segment with Adam Pearce. The announcers reminded us of the history between the two as they started the match. All Ego couldn't seem to get a handle on Evans at first, so he used a dirty tactic in the corner to poke him in the eye. He slowed the pace down and started talking the young G apart. You could tell Evans was feeling the effects of the match on Sunday, but still managed to hit some nice high-flowing moves. These have great chemistry in NXT, so they were able to jump back into it and produce an enjoyable fight that highlighted both their strengths. This wasn't their best performance, but it was still an entry in their long history. Rusev came out of nowhere and tried to take out Evans, but the young AG beat him to the punch. The distraction allowed Page to hit a finisher and for the win. All Ego allowed Rusev to beat up Evans after he got the win, but Penta made the save. Page returned and helped Rusev regain the upper hand, which led to Penta being locked in the accolade. Which I think could be an interesting feud. Obviously still centers around the RC title. It's great to see Ethan Page on the main roster as well. I've been a big fan of him, it's about time. So yeah, I think it's all good stuff. 6 out of 10. Liv Morgan was then out next to celebrate winning the world title from Stephanie Vaquero. The rest of Judgment Day by her side. She parted with Vaquero for giving her a good fight, but she also praised herself for the most talented woman in WWE. Sarah Ricker came out and said Morgan being an inspiration to her. Morgan thanked her and told her to get out of the ring. Pierce came out and brought her rest to make a singles match right away. They got started after break and Ruka took control right away. This match was okay, but it definitely didn't live up to the hype we know what everyone is capable of, especially Ruka. They learned some highlights, but overall it wasn't an action-packed as it could have been. Ruka hit Snell and a diver over the top rope and broke the crowd and got a holy shit chant going. Unfortunately, Zara showed up and attacked her falling for a while. The ref was occupied. They attacked too much out of Rucker and Morgan was able to capitalise with her finisher for the win. Overall, I'm 6 out of 10. As we then moved on to Brock Lesnar possibly retiring, Logan Paul, Austin Theory and Paul Heyman came out for a promo. Heyman said a whole speech had been prepared, but he's still reading from what happened to Lesnar at Mania. He handed the mic to Paul, which got loud boos from the Vegas crowd. The social media star hates the outsiders who come into WWE who are purposely obviously ironic. Heyman brought out Braun for his first Raw appearance since his tricep injury, calling Rollins weak and bragged about ruining his match with Gunther. Rollins showed up with a steel chair, but the show got the better of him. Street Profits made a surprise appearance to even the odds. Baker hit the Visionary with another huge spear to already take out Woods at the end of the segment. It could have been a boring heel promo, but the crowd being so loud is what made it. The fight with Rollins and Profits was fun, initiating two different feuds, and yeah, I'd like to see the Profits chasing the tag titles, obviously while Baker and Rollins go at it. As we then moved on to Finn Balor versus JD McDonough. Of course, Finn Balor going after another member of the Judgment Day. McDonough was taped up after being part of a brutal ladder match, but he was still the aggressor right away. Balor getting the upper hand as they fought through the crowd. This felt very personal. This was far more physical and definitely deserved more time than it got. Balor scored a clean win with a coup de grace, but his celebration was cut short by Dominic Mysterio, so obviously that feud's going to continue, which I'm not against. I'm going to get 6 out of 10. As we then move to the final segment of the show, Roman Reigns celebrating his win alongside the Usos. The OTC said he's missed the trust of the Usos and doing business with them. He told them they're stronger together than apart. He recorded how they ran WWE for years together and asked if they would be their side again, not as underlines but as equals. The Usos seemed on board, but when Fatu showed up, he was not there to acknowledge champion, he was there to challenge him. He said he wanted to upgrade his life at Backlash, but Reigns questioned if he's raised co title yet. He said he would see his little cousin next week and make his exit. A good promo segment that set up Reigns' first feud as champion, which is obviously going to propel Fatu right into the main event scene. So yeah, good stuff. And overall, the Raw after Mania was an ad-heavy episode, just like PE. I also felt that it was a satisfying episode as well. We got a couple of NXT call-ups, we got some fun matches, and most of the promo segments accomplished their goals. Evans and Page had the best showing of the night between the rest, but the two segments were likely to be the most discussed online, the Punk's promo and Reigns' promo. All in all, a sort of follow-up to WrestleMania left a lot of fans unsatisfied. The fact that most of these matches from Rumble were no longer than most of the Mania bouts still sold a plus. Starting right with only getting such a strong reaction from the crowd in Vegas is a great way to get the show started. So yeah, overall I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.